It was the kind of night that tricks you into thinking nothing bad could ever happen. You know those nights when the air feels soft and warm, when the sky is so clear it feels endless, and the moon hangs so bright you swear it's lighting your way just for you. That was the night I learned that danger doesn't always announce itself with thunder or lightning. Sometimes it hides in the quiet, waiting for you to stumble across it. A couple of years ago, my best friend and I had planned this big road trip. We were heading down to the States for a music festival, one of those once-in-a-lifetime type weekends. It was everything we wanted it to be. Loud, wild, exhausting. The kind of festival that leaves you covered in dust, sweat, and good memories. We met up with a bunch of friends, partied hard, laughed harder, and didn't really think about what would come after. That's how it usually goes when you're young. You just soak it all up. But eventually, festivals end. People pack up. Real life calls. One of our friends who had come along needed to get back home earlier than the rest. School was starting back up for him, and his buddies wanted to stay behind. So, we offered to take him with us. No big deal. We had the truck. We had the space, and honestly, the more the merrier on a long drive. Now here's the thing, the trip back wasn't short. It was a full 24 hours of driving, and we weren't about to stop at hotels or motels along the way. We just do it in shifts. One person drives until they're too tired, someone else takes over, and so on. Easy enough. We were used to long drives anyway. When it was my turn, it was around 2 a.m. I remember because I checked the dash clock as I slid into the driver's seat. My friend who had been driving before me stretched out in the back to sleep, and my best friend sat, shotgun. The road ahead was empty, just two narrow lanes stretching across dark fields. And honestly, I loved it. There was something almost magical about that drive. The air was warm, the summer smell of grass carried through the open window, and above us the moon was hanging like a silver lantern. No clouds, no haze, just pure moonlight bathing the whole valley in this strange, dreamlike glow. The kind of night where you roll the window down, feel the wind on your arm, and think, man, life is good. That's when I noticed something. The GPS on the dash froze. The little blue arrow stopped moving. I glanced at my phone. No signal. Satellite. Radio. Dead silence. I didn't panic. Not at first, after all. We were in the middle of nowhere, driving through some massive valley. It wasn't shocking to lose service out there. I shrugged it off. But the more I thought about it, the weirder it felt. We hadn't seen another car in hours. No houses, no lights. Nothing. Just empty fields stretching forever. And now, no way to call anyone if something happened. Still, I shook it off. I shook it. Cool beans, I thought, just keep driving. About 20 minutes later, that's when things shifted. We came up on a bridge, this old, narrow thing with metal railings that looked like they'd seen better days. And right at the entrance to the bridge, there was a car pulled over to the side. At first, I didn't think much of it. People nap in their cars sometimes, especially on long stretches of road like this. But as we got closer, I realized something was off, really off. The car's windows were completely blacked out. Not tinted, not just dark. I mean blacked out. With the moonlight as bright as it was, we should have been able to see at least a silhouette inside. But there was nothing. Just pure, solid black. And then I noticed something else. No license plate. Not on the back. Not on the front. Nothing. My stomach sank. My hands gripped the wheel a little tighter. I told myself, it's fine. Probably abandoned. Nothing to worry about. But then just as we passed it, the car came to life. Its headlights flared on and it pulled out directly behind us. I swear in that moment every hair on my neck stood up. It didn't just follow. It latched onto us. Hugging our bumper, way too close for comfort, its lights blinding in the rearview mirror. Out here, in the middle of nowhere, no service, no houses, and a car with no plates and blacked out windows was now tailgating us. My best friend glanced over at me. That's weird, right? Yeah, I muttered, trying to keep my voice steady. Real weird. We tried to rationalize it. Maybe the driver was lost. Maybe they were nervous about the roads out here and wanted to follow someone who knew the way. That could make sense. But it didn't explain the windows, or the missing plates, or why they chose us. I brushed it off, but the feeling inside me didn't brush off so easily. It started as a little unease, a prickling in my chest, and then it grew, stronger and stronger, until it was no longer nerves. It was a voice screaming inside my head, "Get away. Get away from this car now." I don't get scared easily. I've been in sketchy situations before and I usually stay calm, but this was different. This was primal, instinct-level fear. The kind of gut-deep warning that only kicks in when you're in real danger. And then, as if things weren't bad enough, we saw it. Something in the middle of the road. At first, it looked like a dark shape sprawled across the lanes. I slowed down, squinting, trying to make it out. The car behind us suddenly backed off, leaving a strange gap between us, almost like it was giving us room. That made my stomach twist even harder. As we got closer, my blood went cold. It looked like a body, lying right across both lanes, blocking the road. My best friend sat up straighter, voice tight. "Dude, stop. Is that a person?" My hands were shaking now, but I kept my foot on the gas. "I'm not stopping. No way. Not out here." There was no shoulder to pull onto, no way around it. Deep ditches lined both sides of the road. If I stopped here with that car behind us, we were done for. So I didn't stop. I gritted my teeth and kept driving. Seconds before we reached it, the moonlight hit just right, and I realized it wasn't a body at all. It was a scarecrow. Stuffed, clothing, arms splayed out, head tilted to the side like a corpse, placed perfectly to look like a human lying in the road. I drove right over it. Our truck was big enough that the tires didn't even touch it, straddling the thing as we thundered. As my heart was slamming against my ribs, my knuckles were white on the wheel, and behind us the car kept following. I pressed the gas. It pressed the gas. I slowed down. It slowed down. It was a game. A sick game. Finally I snapped. I floored it. The engine roared and we surged ahead, the speedometer climbing higher and higher. For a minute it stuck with us, lights blazing in the mirrors. And then, suddenly, it stopped. The car slowed down, turned in the road and disappeared back into the night. We didn't speak for a long time after that. The silence was heavier than the air in the truck. Finally my passenger, who had been asleep before all this, whispered, "I swear I saw spikes in that scarecrow, like metal rods or something." I didn't answer. I couldn't. My throat felt tight. Half an hour later, service returned. My phone buzzed back to life, but I didn't even want to look at it. All I wanted was to get home. We pulled into our driveway at 5 a.m., the sunrise barely breaking over the horizon, and only then, sitting in the safety of home, did it really sink in. At that time, there had been several missing persons reports in our province. People who had gone on road trips, vacations, drives, and never made it home. Just vanished. We realized we might have been seconds away from joining them. We reported everything to the police, told them the whole story, described the car, the scarecrow, everything. They took our statement, but without an exact location, there wasn't much they could do. Still, we knew. We knew what we had driven into that night. A trap. Someone, or maybe a group of people, had been setting traps on that road, waiting for unsuspecting drivers to stop. Maybe they'd stop to check on what looked like a body. Maybe they'd get out of their car, lean over the figure, and then, well, we didn't want to find out. All I know is that we were lucky. Lucky we trusted that gut feeling. Lucky we didn't stop. Lucky we were in a big enough truck to drive right over their setup. Because if we hadn't been, if we'd pulled over or even hesitated for a second longer, I don't think I'd be here telling you this story. So yeah, whenever people ask me about the scariest thing that's ever happened to me, I don't hesitate. It wasn't ghosts. It wasn't monsters. It wasn't anything supernatural. It was real people. Real danger, and the kind of evil that hides in plain sight, waiting for someone who thinks the road is safe. That night, under a perfect summer sky, we came face to face with it. And I'll never, ever forget it. Thanks for listening to this story. If you want more true and chilling stories like this one, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and follow True Threads for more.